Translator, Reverie, Editor Henyi. Your Majesty, permit this king to step forth. Lunar King surged forward like a bolt of moonlight. Though your Majesty has transformed into a cursed rotund form, your Majesty remains my sovereign. How could this king possibly allow your Majesty to personally engage the enemy? Beloved General, Maduo Bao's heart stirred with emotion. This king despises the most those women who are both beautiful and powerful. Lunar King declared with righteous indignation. The corner of Maduo Bao's lips twitched. Beloved General, comforting this emperor would have sufficed. Why must you expose the matter so bluntly? Yi Shuang let out a soft, melodious giggle and said, although this lady regards herself as the foremost beauty beneath the heavens, when compared to this young girl, I fall far short. Are you not targeting the wrong person? She extended a slender finger toward Zhu Xuan. Lunar King turned her gaze toward Zhu Xuan and could not help but be stunned. Your Majesty, this young lady possesses peerless beauty. Why not take her as the empress? Hey, she is Tan Brother's wife. How could this emperor snatch away another man's beloved? Maduo Bao replied with a smile. His gaze shifted toward Yi Shuang as he said, your aura carries a scent that does not belong to this world. Tsk. As expected, the big fatty is far from simple. Yi Shuang did not deny it. You people are ancient relics buried beneath the earth for several hundred millennia, while this lady has also been sealed away for several hundred millennia. Our circumstances are quite similar. Damn, every single one of them is monstrous. You give this emperor a sense of danger, Maduo Bao said solemnly. This emperor feels that it would require the full extent of my strength to suppress you. Lunar King was greatly shocked, for she knew better than anyone just how formidable her emperor's strength truly was. Yi Shuang hurriedly waved her hand. Don't. This lady harbors no ambitions and no ill intentions. I am merely wandering the world at leisure, causing harm to no one. There is no need to trouble yourselves over this lady. Oh? Ling Han rolled his eyes. Heh! Yi Shuang laughed awkwardly. You are an exception. Come, Tan Brother, drink with this emperor. I believe you must have many questions in your heart, Maduo Bao said with a smile. Everyone entered the imperial palace. Maduo Bao commanded the attendants to arrange a grand feast within the imperial garden. He took the host's seat, and from there seated Feng Po Yun, Ling Han, and the others accordingly, while Lunar King took the final seat. Tanned Brother, what questions do you wish to ask this emperor? Ling Han contemplated briefly and said, which era exactly do you all originate from? Hey, that will remain a secret for the moment. Maduo Bao shook his head. When this emperor's 8 kings have all descended into the world and unified the realm, you will naturally come to know. Feng Po Yun interrupted. When I was in the desolate north, I encountered a colossal silver spider that had reached the absolute pinnacle of this world. Its battle prowess may already be approaching the level of a god. Oh? Maduo Bao's eyes immediately lit up. As it happens, this emperor is currently lacking a suitable mount. Ha, a damned fatty riding a spider. That scene would certainly be amusing. Lunar King instantly undercut him. That giant spider guards an ancient land. Beneath it lies an ancient mausoleum, buried with at least several hundred shattering void-tier experts who are dead yet not extinguished, as if they had transformed into some kind of dead spirits. Feng Po Yun continued. Maduo Bao's expression immediately turned cautious as he sank into contemplation. Lunar King's beautiful eyes shifted thoughtfully as she said, Your Majesty, could it be that those people cultivated the mystic arts of the underworld, transforming themselves into corpse gods? Extremely possible. Maduo Bao nodded. This matter is somewhat troublesome. What does it mean to become gods as corpses? Ling Han asked. In this world, one can no longer become a god. Should someone attempt it, a great calamity would descend. Mao Bao turned his gaze toward Feng Po Yun. Brother Feng should have sensed this long ago, correct? That is correct. Feng Po Yun nodded. The divine realm has laid down a killing formation forbidding mortals from ascending to godhood. Maduo Bao appeared slightly astonished. I never expected that you already knew so many secrets. He paused briefly before continuing. However, some people have chosen another path. Since they cannot enter this divine realm, why not enter another divine realm? What? Ling Han and Feng Po Yun both cried out in shock. Only Yi Shuang remained calm and unsurprised, as if she had long known this truth. Another divine realm, commonly referred to as the underworld, Ma Duo Bao declared. It is a realm of dead spirits, the mirror opposite of life, the other side of existence. These two divine realms stand on equal footing, yet according to the information this emperor has obtained, the two divine realms are in constant warfare, each seeking to devour the other. Ling Han and Feng Po Yun were both rendered speechless, slowly digesting this astonishing revelation. This emperor does not know much about the inner workings of either divine realm. However, after crossing the shattering void tier and breaking through the void, martial artists normally enter the divine realm in the conventional sense. Only the bodies of dead spirits are able to enter the underworld, Ma Duo Bao continued. Therefore, those people within the mausoleum likely use the yin meridian beneath the earth to transform their bodies into the bodies of dead spirits, allowing them to enter the underworld. Ma Duo Bao frowned slightly and said, when the underworld connects with this realm, underworld chi will inevitably seep into this world. For ordinary living beings, this would be a complete catastrophe, an extremely terrifying calamity. Ling Han also sighed. If that were to happen, the consequences would indeed be dire. After pondering for a moment, he said, Your Majesty, about split. He made a slicing gesture toward the sky. Could you explain the details? Ma Duo Bao laughed heartily. Then let us call it cutting the cake, marrying candy. He pondered briefly before saying, Cutting the cake is not only an immense responsibility, but also an immense fortune. Fortune? Ling Han repeated curiously. One is life, second is fortune, third is geomancy, Ma Duo Bao said. Life refers to one's natal horoscope, determined from the moment of birth. This is what the heavens have arranged for you. What is destined cannot be escaped. Just as some people can become emperors while others cannot, it is precisely because natal horoscopes lack the required destiny that they cannot sit upon that throne. He looked toward Ling Han and said, However, Tanned brother, your natal horoscope is exceedingly strange, as if someone defied the heavens and altered your fate. It does not belong to this world. The heavens cannot control you. No wonder this lady sensed that this brat was somewhat unusual. So that is the reason. Yi Shuang slammed the table abruptly, causing the bowls and chopsticks to jump. Ha ha, could it be that you are not a person of this realm? When one is born in this realm, one becomes influenced by the heavens and earth of this world, and one's natal horoscope is decided by the heavens. And who knew? Her natal horoscope is unfathomable, her destiny undecided, Ma Duo Bao continued. The two of you seem to have leapt out of the river of heaven and earth, no longer the fish swimming within its current, no longer bound by the influences of this world. However, every realm possesses its own rules. Ma Duo Bao brought the discussion back. A realm exists for its own reasons. Just as when you forge a sword, if you attempt to destroy it, you may end up being wounded by its blade instead. Furthermore, the heavens and earth of this world have formed their own laws, and naturally would not allow themselves to be destroyed willingly. Thus, to cut the cake, one must make an enemy of the heavens and the earth. But if the cutting of the cake truly succeeds, then this realm will ascend to a higher level. That would be an achievement of immeasurable magnitude, the so-called fortune. At that time, blessed by fortune itself, the one who cuts the cake will undergo a heaven-shaking transformation, perhaps even surpassing divine horoscopes several times over. Ling Han felt curious and asked, Then what is the matter with the power of the nation? Where the hearts of the people gather, all undertakings succeed. Where the hearts of the people oppose, all undertakings fail, Ma Duo Bao said with a smile. Once a nation is established, the common aspirations of the people will form. These aspirations are a kind of faith, and also a kind of power. With the support of all under heaven, you will receive the blessing of the nation's power and possess strength several times greater than your own, even 10 times, even hundreds of times greater, so long as your body can endure it. If you lose the support of the people, then the power of the nation will produce the opposite effect and suppress your strength instead. Translator Reverie, Editor Henyi. The power of a nation was like a sharp-edged blade with two sides. If a ruler governed the land so that the realm flourished in peace and prosperity, The power of the nation would condense into righteous chi, surging like a rising tide and allowing one's cultivation strength to soar toward the heavens. However, should the ruler become a tyrant, stirring resentment and fury among the common people, the power of the nation would transform into baleful energy. Not only would it fail to provide any aid, it would instead corrode the cultivator's power, causing one's strength to decline. Thus, though the five great sects understood the wondrous benefits of drawing upon the nation's power, they did not dare employ it. When refining the realm pill, the people would inevitably fall into discord and unrest, and that chaos would lead to a dreadful outcome, directly harming the quality of the realm pill. Tanned, brother, now do you wish to lend this emperor a hand? Maduo Bao said with a broad smile, his eyes revealing a trace of anticipation. Those who could leap out of the river of destiny were extremely rare, yet here there were two of them, as if arranged by some unseen hand of fate. Ling Han pondered quietly for a moment, then said, I will return to the Restore Heaven Academy and strive to bring more people away from the control of the five great sects. When the time is ripe, I will lead them to the Purple Moon Empire. Good! Maduo Bao clapped his hands and laughed heartily, his expression brimming with delight. Then this emperor will bestow upon you the title of the Ninth King. Don't! Ling Han hurriedly waved his hands. I have no interest in such things, and I wish even less to bow in worship to a fatty like you. It is far better for me to wander like a wild crane with no fixed abode, free beneath the vast heavens. Lunar King giggled softly. Looking toward Ling Han, she said, This king quite likes people like you. I don't allow you to like New's Ling Han. Hu Nu immediately became anxious. She rushed forward to hug Ling Han tightly and glared fiercely at Lunar King. Everyone, for the sake of everyone's future, please lend this emperor your strength, Ma Duobao said solemnly. Feng Po Yun and Ling Han both nodded their heads. Meanwhile, Yi Shuang merely yawned lazily, appearing utterly uninterested and indifferent. Your Majesty, the five great sects have accumulated power for over 10,000 years. Their shattering void tier elites must number in the hundreds. Do you have any countermeasures? Ling Han asked. Ma Duobao appeared utterly confident. He said, Among this emperor's 8 kings, each alone can rival 10 enemies. In this regard, this emperor has no concerns. If there are 2 matters worthy of worry, the first is when the divine realm will choose to intervene, and the second is those individuals who have cultivated the underworld's mystic art. The Thousand Corpse sect also cannot be underestimated, Ling Han added. It matters not. Without more than 10,000 years of accumulation, the Thousand Corpse sect can only be considered ordinary, Ma Duobao said dismissively. Come, drink. The group continued drinking wine, and no longer spoke of splitting the heavens. Within his mind, Ling Han asked Small Tower, My natal horoscope was altered. Was that your doing? There was no need for me to interfere. You are a fusion of 2 souls, so your natal horoscope would naturally change, Small Tower replied indifferently. Furthermore, the rules of this world are incomplete. Altering a natal horoscope here is as easy as turning over one's palm. There is no need to be surprised. Not being surprised would be strange. You are hiding many secrets from me, aren't you? Ling Han suddenly said. Small Tower fell silent for a moment before replying. When the time comes for you to know, you will naturally be told. Damn it, this spirit tool truly was hiding things. Ling Han had no other recourse. Although he was the master of the Black Tower, he still required the support of Small Tower. Otherwise, he could only watch helplessly. This divine tool clearly had not fully acknowledged him. Strictly speaking, he was merely borrowing it for now. You are a great treasure bullying your own master, truly treacherous and insubordinate. Hey! Small Tower at least gave him face and laughed lightly, but afterward ignored him completely. Ling Han conversed with Ma Duobao for quite a long time. He told Ma Duobao about the matters he had learned from Zi Shuishan, and Ma Duobao likewise shared certain secrets concerning the splitting of the heavens and the method of utilizing the power of the nation. Afterward, Lunar King also led an army into battle, accelerating the pace of the Purple Moon Empire's expansion. In ancient times, this empire had once conferred 8 mighty kings. 4 had already been found, while the remaining 4 lay buried somewhere beneath the earth. Too much time had passed. Just as Ling Han had been unable to locate Boundless Mountain, Ma Duobao's search for his 8 kings was no simple matter. More importantly, it had not merely been 10,000 years since the 8 kings were buried. The very terrain of the world had changed. Even if their burial locations were discovered, the people themselves might no longer be there. Perhaps earthquakes had shifted the land, burying them hundreds of miles beneath the ground. Ling Han set out together with Lunar King. When they reached the border of the Purple Moon Empire, he turned and journeyed toward the Restore Heaven Academy. Yi Shuang and Feng Poyun fought a battle, and while they were clashing, Ling Han seized the opportunity to slip away. However, that female devil likely would not give up so easily. The 3 kings of the Purple Moon Empire advanced like unstoppable war gods, and they had already seized nearly 1/10 of the Central State's territory. Judging purely by land area, the Purple Moon Empire fully deserved the title of the #1 power. But in the world of martial arts, strength was never determined by territory, but by the number and quality of elites. The resistance of the 5 great sects also grew increasingly fierce. Heavenly Astral King's advance had been greatly hindered, and now capturing a city required great amounts of time and a heavy price. Moreover, such victories were unstable. After conquering a city and leaving, the banner atop its walls might change again the very next moment. Amid such a turbulent atmosphere, Ling Han returned to the Restore Heaven Academy. When everyone saw Ling Han, they pointed toward him, the fierce man who had slain Small Saber King. However, many of their gazes were not filled with reverence, but rather with a hint of gloating. When Ling Han saw Li Big Mouth, he finally understood why. Shu Shu Ran had come out to travel the world. He had not yet reached the Restore Heaven Academy. Along the way, he tempered himself through battle, challenging many renowned figures. Among them were even deity transformation tier elites, yet without exception, they were all slain with a single saber strike from him. And this person's cultivation astonishingly still remained at the spiritual infant tier. Another monstrous genius had appeared. In comparison, Small Saber King truly paled greatly beside him. Shu Shu Ran had already declared that the day he arrived at Restore Heaven Academy would be the day Ling Han's head fell from his shoulders. Now, the disciples of the 5 great sects were eagerly awaiting Shu Shu Ran's arrival, hoping he would slay Ling Han and restore the prestige of the 5 great sects. Upon hearing this, Ling Han merely smiled faintly. His mind had already broadened, and his thoughts no longer revolved around competing with others for victory. Instead, he considered the fate of the entire world. How could he be bothered with a mere Shu Shu Ran? However, this did not mean Ling Han would lower his guard. He was simply extremely confident in himself. In a battle within the same tier, how could he possibly lose to anyone? At that moment, a shocking piece of news arrived from the front lines. The fierce battle between the Purple Moon Empire and the 5 great sects had shattered a fragment of heaven and earth, revealing the entrance to an ancient historic site. Now the 2 armies had temporarily agreed to a truce, sending experts into the historic site to search for the treasures hidden within. For 2 utterly irreconcilable forces to lay down their weapons and jointly explore a historic site, just what astonishing treasures could be concealed there? When the news spread, the students of Restore Heaven Academy set out one after another toward the historic site. Opportunities had nothing to do with strength, but instead depended upon one's personal fortune. Ling Han naturally also departed. As his cultivation tier grew ever higher, his need for worldly treasures also became increasingly great. The cultivation of the indestructible Heaven Scroll and the 9 Dragons Tyrant body art required immense quantities of worldly treasures to sustain them. True treasured pills still needed to be refined, and he also required even higher grade ingredients, things that were currently lacking within the Black Tower.